Now, I want to talk about your friend, The Undertaker. It's been announced that he'll be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. That's obviously no surprise, but it's going to be a big, big moment, isn't it?
Huge. It's gonna be a Steve Austin, Undertaker special. It's probably the 2 biggest it's I can't say which one, um, will go down in history as being the biggest, but I can't think of any 2 bigger stars, and I'm very close to both guys. I, I text Taker. I actually saw him 3 weeks ago in Houston, and, I mean, I knew it had to come sooner or later, but it's a huge that his induction is worth a I mean, it just makes WrestleMania even bigger. You know, it's like when I watched Austin, Vince inducted Austin, and man, when Vince started going down the accolades and what Steve had accomplished, the money he drew, the box office record he set, they didn't discuss merchandise, but God, we know the answer to that. You can't turn on a show where Austin 316 isn't somewhere, and good for him. So, but the same applies to Taker. I mean, it just he meant he meant he means so much to their brand and to the company.
Now, Undertaker debuted in WWE in 1991. You were with the company during Undertaker's early days. When you first saw the gimmick, what were your thoughts initially? Did you think it would be big?
Absolutely. My first trip to Europe with him, I knew it was big. There had 1,000 people standing in line dressed up like Undertaker.
Now, was it the gimmick or was it the man, Mark Calloway? What made The Undertaker work?
The man, Mark Calloway.
What made the gimmick great?
The man, Mark Calloway. He lived it. He worked it. He very rarely changed it around. I mean, it just, he never had a bad match. I can't remember ever seeing him have a bad match. And he worked like a kid diving over the top rope. He was 300 pounds, 6'10" or 9, and diving over the top rope, like Rey Mysterio. So you tell me, how great is he?
Oh, no, no doubt in my mind. And
Walking the top rope and all that. I mean, come on. He made he made me in 2000 and WrestleMania 18.
we'll talk about that match, WrestleMania 18. That's one of your great WrestleMania moments. That's one of the great WrestleMania moments. Frankly, Nate, I think you were already made by then, but what a
No,
great moment
no,
that was.
I was drowned in self-confidence issues.
Okay, well, go on. Talk about that.
Even to the day I retired with Sean, I never got over. It's hard to explain. Self-confidence is something you have to. I mean, I just couldn't get myself to be the best I could be, and then when I realized I could be that person because I didn't have any physical injuries, I just I'd go back to the locker room and say, God, if I had just been that guy that I was the last 5 minutes of the match. It's impossible to explain. Watch my 30 for 30. It says it all.
What do you remember most about that WrestleMania 18 match with The Undertaker?
The whole thing. It was a fabulous night for me.
Now,
I
Undertaker,
knew the favorite part, which I've told the story before, is when he threw me in the corner and I missed the flip. And he backed me up and said, "Can you make it this time, kid?" I'm 20 years older than him. "Can you make it this time, kid?" But the minute he got my flipped, he gave me the boot in the face. I got the blood. I was ready to go. As
now,
soon as the sooner I can get to the blade, I'm good to go.
are you ever going to blade on this podcast? Do you think that occasion will
I
ever
might
arise?
if someone tweets in, they want to see me blade, boom, I'll do it.
Oh, God, don't say that. Don't
I'm
say that.
just kidding.
Now, Undertaker never broke character, never did insider interviews,
No,
never let anyone from the outside on the inside. That's so rare today, Nate. And how valuable was that in building his brand?
it was everything. It was everything. And then he got to the point where he just wanted to try something else till he was bored. Sometimes you feel like you've been doing something so long in one character, you wanted to try something, and the biker gimmick was great. But because whatever a guy with that kind of skill has is always going to be great. But he went right back to being the Undertaker, and I mean, I've followed it closely. Yeah, I feel like he and I are good friends, which is hard, which is a very hard statement to make in the business after 20 some years. But I have nothing but respect for the guy, and Michelle's cool as can be, and he's I feel like he's really at peace with himself, which is really hard to find. So when you've had a long career, it's hard to go home.
You were part of his winning streak at WrestleMania, and that was great because it was organic. People didn't even realize there was a streak until it was of relatively significant length. That was a pretty good thing for him to hang his hat on, wasn't it?
Oh my God, it was everything. Every year. I think people just they just anticipated another great match, another great opponent.
Was it the right thing when Brock beat him?
I don't know how to answer that. If he had to lose, Brock could be the guy to lose to. I'll put it like that.
I think that's fair. It's like when Goldberg finally lost in WCW. I would not have beat him for quite some time longer.
Who do you lose to?
They did the cattle prod finish. Remember, he lost to, I think Kevin Nash beat him when Scott Hall hit him with the cattle prod.
Yeah. I don't remember for sure, but yeah, Bill could have gone on forever.
Now, one thing about the Undertaker's gimmick, Nate, is now that he's out of the business, at least in terms of in ring. Whenever I hear him talk, it's weird to hear him talk. That's how long it was until you heard the guy talk. You always saw him in character. When you heard him talk, I mean, for you, it's different because you knew him, you saw him backstage, but it kind of rings funny to an observer like me.
Um, I you know I've only heard him talk a couple times. I know he was on Joe Rogan, but I guess apparently he said the guys today were soft. He can get away with saying that. I can't.
But so you're not going to say they're soft then?
No, that I don't no. It's just first of all, nobody's soft in our business. It's a different time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
See, Mark has been where I've been. $50 a night, 3,000 miles a week, and that's not to mention all the other hardships that go along with it. You sacrifice family, you sacrifice everything. Mark has done that, so that he speaks from a side of the business that he knew, as I knew, even 20 years before he did, which was even more insensitive. So it's not that anybody is soft. It's just that we like to think that I think in our minds, we say, could these guys have done that? Now, Roman Reigns and the Usos, I know could have done it. My daughter, I know could have done it because they would have, their love and their passion, and the Samoan people are just incredibly tough mentally, physically. Roman's dad did it. I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's just, if you grow up in the old school mentality, Randy at Orton could have done it. His dad, I mean, by Randy's third generation, my God. You don't know that at NXT, I don't know that everybody could do 500 free squats, run 2 miles, do 250 push-ups and 250 crunches, and then jump off a hayloft onto the ground, the
I
hard
think
ground.
I think Steiner's kid could, but I feel you.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying he couldn't, but would he it's not that he couldn't, would he want to?
Right.
Well, who wants to drive 3,000 miles for $50 and eat hard-boiled eggs? Pickles.
Now, the Undertaker's ring entrance, I think, is one of the best of all time, maybe the best. How much did that help his character?
Well, everything enhanced his character, but at the end of the day, it was him. He did it. I mean, just the way he took off his hat, the whole thing. If you think about it, you just micromanaged the whole entrance. The entrance is spectacular, but it's the way he walked, the way he carried himself, taking off the hat, putting it on top of when he wrestled Roman, putting coat on, putting it down, putting the hat on top. I mean, incredible. It just, I don't have the words to say. It's entirely different than Steve's, where Steve was power walking in the ring, bam, bam, killing everybody along the way. Um, it was an entirely different kind of entrance, but equally as spectacular.
Did you micromanage your entrance? I felt like you did too.
I did somewhat, but the fans could get to us a lot more, where you can't really, when the fans are eating you from the time you walk out the door to the time you get to the ring, and you're trying not to get punched. It's kind of hard to to be to make sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think you done fine though. Now, we're going to talk about Taker a lot more in the weeks leading up to his induction and in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania. But let me ask now, how much does the WWE Hall of Fame mean? It's not random, but it's not voted on either. But still, it seems like the highest honor a wrestler can get.
Absolutely. Like you know, the problem is that it's to me, it was you know, uh, it's hard for me to say the biggest moment of my life. That weekend was the biggest moment of my life, and that's not taken away from Harley or Terry or anything like that. But I mean, you just to see the people in the audience that really genuinely care about you, the fans that generally care about you. Um, it just it's hard to imagine. And then you walk away, and what'll be what the difference is for me. I left the business altogether. Mark will always be part of the business, and he'll always be a a featured attraction when he went when called upon. The Hall of Fame for me was the end. For him, it's just another great uh, tribute to a great wrestler and a great guy.
Does any other Hall of Fame mean as much?
No, if it's just the way Vince runs things. I mean, he makes it a spectacular day, and this will be even more spectacular. It doesn't matter who else they induct this year; they're going to remember Mark.
It would be good, I think, if there was a physical Hall of Fame. Don't you? Like baseball has, like hockey has, where you could see plaques
Sure,
and memorabilia.
I'm sure there will be someday. I'm sure there will be someday. Um, that's all we have to remember ourselves by.
Heck, they could have a Ric Flair Hall of Fame. They just have to get contributions from all your ex-wives.
Yeah, exactly.
At least you know where it was then, right?
I know where all this stuff is now.